What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorian Show, where I come on weekly so far and talk about the financial markets, and once in a while get one of my friends to come talk with me if I even have friends. Let me adjust the camera. I should have done this earlier, honestly. Sounds like the mic issues have been fully resolved. All thanks to me only. But yeah, let's just jump into some of these finance news. There's a lot of things happened. I want to talk about them. Biggest news, obviously, the DOJ is trying to break up Google. Coming after my Googers, dude. And dude, I feel like it's such bad timing for the DOJ to do this. I mean, I get it. Lena Khan is really just coming after one, dude. Lena Khan, the destroyer of worlds, as they call her. It sounds like they want to break up Google, and I feel like this is one of the worst times because Google's going to get broken up while all their competitors are kind of taking market share from them and everything, basically. And yeah, it seems like it's just like a little bit too late. Like the breakup should have happened 10 years ago, honestly. But I don't know. I don't know if some people seem to think that the breakup will happen. Other people feel like they're going to probably, make concessions elsewhere. Yeah, so the judge basically found that Google was being uncompetitive and using their monopoly power by paying other phone companies like Apple and Samsung to make their search engine the default search engine. And I think they paid Apple like $10 billion a year to be the default search engine. And yeah, I get why that would be abusing their monopoly power, but I think it just naturally led that way. You know what I mean? Like, who are the competitors for Google search? There's just Bing, DuckDuckGo, right? And that's it. And Bing is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft have a ton of money. I think they're like the largest company in the stock market with the largest market cap. You don't think they could go over the top and pay $11 billion or $12 billion to be the default search engine? The truth is they don't do it is because it probably wouldn't matter. Like if you got a phone, an iPhone, I don't have an iPhone, I have a Google phone. And then you go on your phone and you're trying to use a search engine and the default search engine is Bing. Like the chances are a lot of people are just going to switch off because a lot of people view Google search as a better product. So yeah, that's the real reason why Bing didn't pay for it. You know what I mean? Like it would just be them burning $12 billion for most people just to switch over, I'm guessing. And to be honest with you, I use Bing. Like I've been using Bing since like high school, I think. And that was just me trying to be cool. I'm like, I'm not going to use Google and give them all my information. And now I use an Android phone, obviously. But like, I don't know what the solution is. I guess one of the solution is they're going to tell Google they can't pay to have their search be the default search. And that's fine with me. I actually own a lot of shares of Google. May or may not be 22% of my portfolios in Google. And I don't want the stock to tank. But I think that will hurt Samsung and hurt Apple more than it hurt Google. Like they'll just save like $20 billion a year. And guess what? If you get into a new iPhone and you get to pick whatever your default search engine is, like what do you think you'll pick? You'll probably pick Google. So I don't know. I mean, I guess people say like if Google didn't do that, there will be other competitors that are more willing to get into the search industry. But I'm like who's going to do better than Google? You know what I mean? I guess you could say that, but that's one thing. I think the solution is the DOJ would just be like, oh yeah, you just can't pay for it. And at the end of the day, that would just hurt Apple and Samsung more. That's $10 billion they could have had basically for free. And yeah, I think that would be one solution if they don't want to break up Google and the conglomerate, is to have, just be, you can't pay to have your search engine to be the default, which is fine. I'm okay with that. The other thing they're probably coming after Google for is their Google Play Store. And Apple's doing this exact same thing, by the way. They basically are trying to box out other Play Stores like Samsung's store, or I don't know, whatever store, like all these gaming companies like Epic Gaming. Like you would only be able to download all these apps through the Google Play Store or Apple's iPhone store. I don't even use an iPhone, to be honest. I'm not a fan of Apple. Just because I want to be cool. Because they block out all these other Play stores, they have a monopoly on how much they charge these developers. I think both Google and Apple right now are charging 30% of everybody's revenues that uses their app store. So if you're an Epic gamer, Epic Games, or anything, even Spotify, if you want to be on the phone, Google takes away 30% of your revenue if someone downloads Spotify or Epic Games through the Google store, and Apple does the same with their own iPhone store. And that, I think, is kind of crazy, because 30% is a huge cut. I wouldn't think it would have been an issue if it was like 10% or sub 20%, because I do think like the App Store should be able to get a cut, because it just costs money to manage it, right? But 30% is insane. So yeah, maybe they'll make a deal with the DOJ, with the judge. Hey, we'll lower our fees for all these app developers. But I don't know. Like the DOJ, Lena Khan is asking the judge to basically break them up, and I'm not sure how they would want to break up Google, but I think they probably want to, from the biggest rumors I've heard, they want to cut off Android and the Play Store to be its own separate thing away from Google, which is like a big deal. But I'm like, if you're gonna do that, are you gonna break up Google's Android away from each other? But you're gonna let Apple keep their own. You're gonna let Apple keep their iPhone within the rest of their product. I don't know. I think that sounds kind of crazy. And what else are you going to break up from Google? I think Google's biggest things are search. Well, here's the other thing about search, right? They're like, oh yeah, they have a dominance on search. True for the past 10 years, but a lot of these chat GPTs and AI companies are coming in and starting to basically eat away at search. Like there's chat GPT, Facebook have their own Llama, I think it's called. Those are eating shares from Google search, because people are like, we don't want to look through search results. We just want the answer. So those are competitors right now, and every day they're taking a little bit away from Google search revenue. And sure, Google has Gemini, but it's considered to be behind. So I'm like, why do you want to break Google up from search and YouTube and Android when search is like losing market share every day. And the other thing is they were saying how the Google has a monopoly on ads, and that's also not true. You know what I mean? Like, sure, website ads are basically dominated by Google, but there's a lot of platforms where you buy ads. Like Facebook ads are killing it, Instagram ads are killing it, Amazon ads are killing it. There's just so many different ways to advertise now. TikTok, and Google's been losing market share and ad revenue too. And not ad revenue, the ad revenues are still growing, but they're losing market share in terms of ads. And you want to break it up? Like, if you break up Google, that just means you have to break up Facebook. You probably have to break up Amazon. You have to break up all these companies. And I'm still torn on if that's a good idea or a bad idea as a whole in general, and also for shareholders like myself. And one of the things I think it will hurt, I think it could hurt innovation if you break up all these companies, because Google is so dominant, they're able to fund a lot of research and new projects, such as like Waymo, for example. Like Waymo is probably just burning money, but it's probably the best self-driving product we have there, right? I think Chevy Cruise have their own self-driving thing, but I don't really see them anymore. I live in LA, so I don't know if they're even around LA. They might be around in San Francisco, but Waymo's out and about in California, Arizona, New York. And I think they're leading the game in self-driving, and it's just burning piles of cash. So if you broke Google up, obviously they won't have as much revenue and as much cash because they're becoming 3 or 4 companies. Will they still have the money to fund stuff like Waymo or DeepMind? You know what I mean? All these like very important products that actually could take innovation to the next level. Like, who's going to fund that? You know what I mean? Like, that just kills competition in a way, right? If Google's broken up and if they couldn't pay for Waymo, then who do you have left? Chevy Cruise and Tesla hasn't been that good, honestly. So, yeah, I don't know. But on the other side, I think breaking up could unlock a lot of value. Like if they took away YouTube to make its own thing, and took away Android to make its own thing, and then Google search could have wherever is left. Like I think it could unlock a lot of value in all these different segments that people probably haven't priced in yet for these conglomerates, so to speak. So I'm not too worried. I know a lot of people are worried of the breakup. That's why Google is trading at a discount. It's only trading at a forward P of 18, which is insanely cheap. But I think people are pricing in this breakup. But then I don't think it's not gonna be bad. I feel like all these are great companies that Google have, and if they do get broken up, that is just gonna unlock more value. Hopefully. We're gonna find out immediately if they're gonna be forced to break up, because these lawsuits take forever. But if they are forced to do it, like I'm gonna back up the money truck, the Brink truck, and buy even more shares of Google. And hopefully I'm right. Hopefully I am not wrong and lose all my money, but instead make lots and lots of money, Same thing for Meta. If they broke up Facebook from Instagram, I think the parts separate is probably worth more than the sum of it together. So people should be worried. If you're afraid, if you want Google to be broken up, just know that they're going to come after Facebook next, going to come after Amazon next, Microsoft. And all these companies are going to be chopped up. And I don't know. In terms of for investors, I think it could actually make you more money. But as a company, as for society as a whole, I think it might take innovation back a little. You know what I mean? I'm not a huge fan of like government intervention, as you know. But I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. I've been looking online. A lot of people are worried about the Google breakup, and they're like, I'm going to stay away from it with a 10-foot pole or whatever. And I'm like, dude, this is a potential for making lots of money. Lots and lots of money. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Dude, China has been killing me lately. Like every day is like a roller coaster ride with China. Last time I came on, there were rumors that China is going to basically flood the markets with like all this free money for like all these companies, investments funds to buy back shares. But they've like really stepped back from that. Like they'll have like an official announcement, and all the stuff coming out of these officials' mouth are super vague. And I don't know, dude. China is the king of mixed messages, and I think that's just what happens when you're under like a socialist, communist dictatorship. You know what I mean? Like you just have centralized government. You have one guy basically dictating all the rules. You know what I mean? Like they're at first they're like, yeah, we love tech, we want China to be like the leader in tech. So all these companies like Alibaba and Tencent were just crushing it, dude, just killing it. And all of a sudden they're like, nope, you guys are too powerful. We don't like that. We'll just cut the legs from under you. You know what I mean? Like they just stopped Alibaba from having Ant Financial go public, which just crushed them so that they couldn't do all these monopolistic tactics. Just destroyed the tech industry, dude. Overnight, they just destroyed it. And then they're like, oh, and then when it was starting to look back, they're like, oh no, we support industry. We're gonna, we want people to go to the middle class, and they're gonna pay people more. And then it turns out in 2023, this is one of the craziest things. In 2023, some industries in China, they clawed back people's salaries and bonuses. Isn't that insane? Because they're like, to be a patriot, you need to look out for country first. So we're going to claw back the money we gave you. Can you imagine if they did that in the U.S.? People would go crazy. Imagine you made like $80,000 a year. They already paid you, and then at the end of the year, they're like, just kidding. The government needs more money, so we're going to take back $20,000 from you. That is insane, and I think this is the issue with China right now. Like they can't. They want to have the. I'm guessing the main guy Xi Jinping has like a ideal in his head how he wants the economy to work. You know what I mean? Like at first they're like in a recession, they're in a deflation, and he was like, all right, we're gonna push all this money into the market, and they want like the markets to recover. They want people to start spending more. But I'm guessing what happened was the stocks just shot up, and that's not what he wanted. I think he doesn't want people to gamble in stocks, so he like pulled back the messaging, and then stocks will crater, and he doesn't want that because people think they're a recession. And I don't know, dude. Like this is terrible time to be in China, and I don't want to say China is uninvestable. Is that a word? Because I am invested in, obviously I have Alibaba, and I bought it at all-time highs basically, and while it was like going up, I was gonna break even pretty soon. But I'm recording this on Sunday, so I think tomorrow, Monday, it's gonna tank, dude, because they were just giving out really vague statements about how they're gonna help the economy. And they just need to make a decision and go with it. You know what I mean? Like, sure, they don't want foreigners to make money off of their stock market. I think a lot of the stocks were shooting up because Americans are just dumping monies into Chinese stocks. But you just got to stick with the messaging. That's what's important. Like the Chinese economy is unreliable. That's probably the biggest thing, right? You know what I mean? Like if they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna let the market crash, whatever, then stocks will crumble, which it did, and I bought more shares because I'm like, oh, it's undervalued now. Is that a PE of like 8 or 7? And I'm like, even though the industries are getting crushed, the economy's getting crushed, like it's underpriced, because once the economy picks up, it'll get better, right? And that's from a negative tone from the government. They're like, we're not going to help it, we're not going to intervene. And I'm like, fine. You know what I mean? They're getting crushed so bad that I think it's safe to invest now. But then all of a sudden they come out, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to print all this money, blah, blah, blah. And then the stock market just goes up. Right? And now it's still cheap, but if it's only cheap if the government means what they say. But when they keep taking back their statements, you're like, holy crap, like this is now it's too expensive, right? I think the PE right now for Alibaba is like 12 and 13. It's a fair value, I think. So I wouldn't buy more, but it's undervalued if the government's going to print money. It's undervalued, but it might be fair valued or even overvalued if they're not. So the issue is like, I don't know what they're doing because they keep going back and forth on their messaging. And that's bad. If you guys want to invest in China, I just say be careful. I have some exposure, but it's not a lot. Not a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money overall, but I mean, it's a lot of money to me, but overall, it's not going to destroy me if I lose it all. It's about like 5% of my portfolio. Compared to Google, it's just like 22, which is insane in the membrane. Anyway, that's some China news. I gotta say, the Chinese news is really exciting for me. I have a tough time falling asleep at night. So I'll just go on Twitter and like read Chinese news at the middle of the night because that's when all this news is coming out for them. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And I'm getting excited about the next day if the stock market's going to go up or if it's going to crash. And let me tell you, it's fun, dude. It's fun, but it's a roller coaster ride. Let's talk about Tesla. The Tesla. You guys see the Tesla announcement of Elon's self-driving vehicles? He had the minivan and the 2-seater Tesla that's going to be out by, I don't know, next year, he said. Dude, they are so behind in self-driving. I feel like people are starting to not believe in the hype of Elon anymore. You know what I mean? Because the one thing they do have is they have a lot of data because there's a lot of Teslas on the road and they're getting all these datas. Just like they have so much more data than everyone else on driving behaviors, self-driving, because people use that feature. So Tesla's getting a lot of data, but I think their technology, which is just cameras right now, is probably not as good as LiDAR. And the only reason I'm saying this is because Waymo's doing rides already with no driver. Like it's a fully self-driving. Waymo and I think Cruise is doing that. Amazon has a thing called Zoox. I just heard about it, but they already have self-driving, and I think Waymo's way ahead. And they have less data because they don't have as many cars as Google. I mean, Waymo has less cars out there, getting less data than Tesla, but they're able to have self-driving before Tesla. Which makes me think the camera technology is not it, and he probably should be using LiDAR. But he's refusing, so I don't know. I don't see how Tesla's going to catch up with more data to even Waymo. Like Waymo has less data, but they have a better product. It's just kind of weird, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if you could really believe in Tesla right now. The cool thing about the whole Tesla announcement was the Optimus humanoid robot. You guys saw that. Dude, I don't know when this the Optimus is basically like a iRobot thing, like a real humanoid robot supposed to be able to do a lot of things. Could be your friend, could be your lover. To creeps out there, not me, or just like an assistant, which is it would be amazing. The thing is, the technology is not there, right? They had at the event, and they were making drinks, but they weren't really. They're just pouring drinks from like a lever, and they were playing like rock paper scissors, and they were answering questions. People were conversating with them, but I think what was really going on was there's like an engineer behind the robot, like kind of assisting them with stuff. So you're basically talking to an engineer on the other side of the robot. Like people are just on the mic like, hey, how's it going? So I think it's not even close to their being able to do what you want it to be able to do. It's also kind of clunky. I'm like, why do you make it like a humanoid? It's just like a full size, like grown person. Like that just takes up a lot of space. Like I'm not looking for like a companion, so to speak, but Dude, if I could get a robot that just cleans everything in my apartment, I would slap down $30,000 immediately. If they could say it could do that. I'm not. I could do. I don't have an issue with like doing dishes. I do dishes after every meal. Actually, I'm really good at cleaning that. But it's like the maintenance of stuff like sweeping, mopping, wiping down counters. Like I don't do any of that stuff. My home is disgusting, dude, just because of all the dust and dirt. But if you have an Optimus that could clean itself, that's the other thing you need to do. Like I have a Roomba that kind of cleans the floor, but it doesn't clean itself and it always has errors. If you can make a robot that cleans itself, be able to clean my whole place, like basically deep cleaning it every single day, I would $30,000 easy, dude. I would give that. But it's just a matter of, is Elon and Tesla really going to be able to put something out there soon within the next 5 years? I don't think so. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe. I think, here's what I think. I think generative AI, the language models will basically probably get you a companion robot before giving you like a functional robot to help clean and build stuff and wash dishes, because the truth is the AI models, the LLMs, long language learning models, LLM, they are really good. Like I use Google Gemini a lot and they're already smarter than me. You know what I'm saying? They say they're really close to making them as smart as like a PhD student, which I'm not. I'm dumb, dude. And the large language models are already smarter than me. So I think if you're a lonely person and you just need someone to be like a companion robot will probably get there really fast. I feel like probably within 5 years. But the mechanics of like a functional robot that's going to be a lot harder. You know what I mean? Like just watching it pull the lever for the drinks, like it was just so clunky. You know what I mean? It's just like, you mean to make it run smoothly is going to be really hard. Like just washing dishes is so hard, right? You know what I mean? Like you have to hold a dish a certain way. It has to balance in your hands. You have to be able to scrub it with a certain amount of pressure. Like it can't be too much. It can't be too little. Like these robots might be just smashing these dishes. You know what I'm saying? Like how are you going to navigate behind my TV? How are you going to pull out the TV without destroying the TV to like mop the floor and all that? How are you going to dry the floor? How are you going to put enough pressure on the floor to not bust through it, but like enough pressure that you're actually cleaning it? That's a tough thing to navigate for Tesla. So I think that would be a lot harder to be able to have an assistant that actually could do physical stuff for you. That's going to be tough. And I don't know, maybe, 10 years maybe. I don't know. But I feel like Tesla's the only one doing it, right? I guess there's the freaking dog robots, what are they called? And people sending out robots to fucking go to war. I don't know. All right. I'm 29 minutes in. Should I keep going? There are stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about the housing market, but I think I'm going to save it for next time, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Please like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you're listening this on, please like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. I love talking about finance. I love it. It's my favorite thing. I love making money. I don't have a lot of it. But yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next time. And if you watch this on YouTube and you're a disgusting person, you can watch me eat some mukbangs. That's what I also do on YouTube. And I haven't been able to figure out how to get viewers on that either. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.